There's 2+ hours NBA DFS conversation, taking y'all straight up the lock. I'm Dean, joined today, returning champion. It's Bobby Gomes. Bobby, we have
just 2 days back to back talking to my guy Dean. I didn't have any shows earlier in the week, and then I looked on the schedule like at 4:05 and was like, oh, it's me. So back to back, here we go. Ready to talk some NBA.
I hear the enthusiasm in your voice. You're thrilled to be here.
I'm absolutely ecstatic to be here, Dean, right now. My kid keeps screaming in the other room. So if you guys hear him, just don't blame me. It's his mom.
Why is your child upset? What's bothering your child?
He's teething currently. Yeah.
Does that now? This is a totally ignorant question. As somebody who's never had a child, is that something to do with teeth?
It is something to do with teeth. Yeah, his teeth are growing in. Dean.
Okay. Yeah. I thought that's what it meant, but I never.
Are you serious? You didn't know what that was?
Dude, I don't remember. I'm sure I teethed at one point too, but I don't know what. I don't recall. I'm not like getting.
This might be all time, Dean, that you didn't know what that is.
We all have an area of expertise, like Liam Neeson style, but
this is not my area of expertise. If you ask my girlfriend, she's ready to kill me today.
It's probably basic common knowledge, and the chat's going to roast me in a second. I imagine that. Again, I was correct. My guess was correct, but I wasn't 100% certain that is what teething happens to be. What's up to the chat? Appreciate y'all jumping in here early, getting the full 2 hours. Mr. Richard and Stan and 4 Under and Steven, active chat. Also appreciate those of you that hit the like button as you're walking in the door. Like button, subscribe, notifications. You all know the deal. Hit everything. And TJ will be on later to remind you guys to do so if you haven't already. I believe it's TJ, TheLuuch, and Roth for the Fanduel sponsored Crunch Time. Yeah, some of those favorite plays being thrown out there. I'm curious to get your take. Yeah, this is it's really straightforward, Bobby. It's a really, really straightforward slate. Like, obviously, there's a lot of stuff up in the air. It's a 9-game slate. A lot of stuff we're waiting to happen. But there was a kerfuffle. Malice in the Palace, Part 2. Sequel's never as good as the original. It wasn't spectacular, but there was a fight with Orlando and Detroit. And therefore, a lot of the Magic dudes, Detroit guys as well, were suspended. They couldn't even have all the Orlando players fulfill those suspensions because then they wouldn't have 8 active players. But they had to kind of bracket them out. A couple of guys will get suspended next game for leaving the bench, amongst other things.
Just extreme immaturity by Killian Hayes, I feel like, in that situation.
Well, wasn't it on Wagner? So, look, he got knocked out or something. It was a cheap shot at him to start the whole thing. But then there was another cheap shot as a retort. And then, it was a good job.
I seen the first. So, I think Wagner just kind of laid into him a little bit too much, and throwing a punch at a guy with his head turned, it was so weird. It was Bush League.
I was studying that film like it was like the Zapruder film, and you couldn't watch that clip just one time. I'm going to guess you watched it more than once. I watched it more than once, trying to figure out.
I watched it like 3 times, and I was like, "What is going on?" I said, I didn't even know until I noticed he wasn't accruing any more points for my fantasy team the other day.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, but it was almost like he was knocked out before he was knocked out. It was really strange. Like he didn't seem there. The whole thing was kind of odd. And was it
a soccer? Was it one of those soccer flops, you think? It didn't look like he hit him that hard, but
he is European, so maybe it's like in his blood, like it's in the European's blood.
That's what I'm saying. Like it might have been he just went down.
I think something. I don't know, man. I couldn't quite figure it out, but it looked like he was concussed before he was even hit. And then, but I'm not really sure what happened there. But the whole thing was just odd, and I guess he's okay. Hopefully, he's okay. I haven't heard anything about it. But is that Germany? Yeah, the Germany versus France. And Michael and Chad chiming in. Oh, we have some body parts dropping. Oh, that's for Saturday. Never mind. Yeah, as always, the Saturday updates. I guess they're nice.
Need the Saturday updates. Friday at 5. Definitely need to get the Saturday updates in.
You didn't want to know that Kelly Oubre is not going to play tomorrow?
Darius Garland. Oh, wait, that's today. Dennis Smith Jr. questionable for Saturday. You needed that information for the slate tonight.
It's super important. Yeah. I ran a couple optimal stuff before the show started, by the way, and Man, there's one game at 7:00, one game, but it's the Magic, and look, you can't ignore it. There's eight guys. Nobody's terribly expensive. Even if this game kind of blows out, then it's probably not going to blow out, right? Because it's Washington. 6-point dogs here at home. You're going to have two of the starters mopping up. 8 guys, 2 of them are named. One's named Caleb Houston. The other one's named Kevon Harris. We're going to get like 35 to 40 minutes out of Fultz, Wagner, redemption game on behalf of his brother. And Bull looks incredible on DK. Fanduel looks good, but he's center and center only. You only can roster one of those. Bull's 4-8 on DK. Man, how many Magic players is too many? Are you putting any sort of rules in? Very first lineup I made, our optimizer made, right? It's got 5 Magic players in it. Well, 5.
Yeah, I'm getting up to 4 Magic right now.
Yeah. Little different story on Fanduel, I believe, and we're going to get an update as well because these projections are as of 2 hours ago. Not a lot has changed in the last 2 hours, but some stuff will change. What's interesting is the very first Fanduel lineup right now that I made, or that I hit in the optimizer, no Magic players, none. Second one has 3, so that's just interesting. A lot of Pistons. Pistons, of course, were involved in that. They were hit to some degree, but not nearly. They're not as depleted as Orlando happens to be, and then you have, Giannis Antetokounmpo smashed last time out. No surprise. No Middleton. No Drew Holiday.
That was a great matchup for him versus Chicago as well.
Yeah, and he just murdered. It went overtime as well too. Not that you needed the extra 5 minutes to even pad the stats more, but now you have Giannis today versus Minnesota. Minnesota, a team that's nothing we're afraid of there. Gobert questionable, doesn't really matter. He's still going to take souls out there, and the price is pretty good. So it's 5 Magic players and Giannis Antetokounmpo. We got a Piston as well, for what it's worth. Some other let's see, we got 5, 5, 2, 5, 4 as far as Magic players. 4. So you're cutting it off.
Fanduel?
This is DK.
It's DK, yeah. We're getting, I think 4 or 5 Magic. It's probably what's going to hit optimals. I'd probably go 3 or 4 in my lineups. I think you're starting with Bull. He's like the pretty obvious one. Markelle Fultz at the point guard position, 6K. He's been playing really well. What's interesting about this Magic team is this rotation within like the last week and a half. I know all season it's kind of been fluctuating and their situation's been relatively fluid, but they got to a point where they're super it was tough to play any of these guys. And now we have this day where there's only 8 Magic dressing, right? Like it's interesting situation. Franz Wagner, I have interest in him, shooting guard position, 6,200. Paolo Banchero sees a 35% usage. What do we have him for like a 35% usage rate when this in the situation in 114 minutes with Anthony Suggs, Carter, Bamba, and Mo Wagner on the bench.
I was running them all earlier. I lost. There's too many guys to kick off, and then my sample was getting smaller and smaller. But you ran it in the Court IQ. Is that what you got? Yep,
that's what I got. So that's pretty good, right? I don't know. I would definitely be looking to get some exposure to any like Banchero, Fultz, Bull, Franz Wagner. They make a ton of sense on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, all good plays. Fultz looks really good. Wagner looks really good. Those are both basically fantasy point minute players. Banchero a little bit over fantasy point per minute. Admiral Schofield, former Piston, I believe. No, not former Piston, former Wizard. Not an amazing fantasy point minute guy, but he is so min on DK. I presume he starts. He is pretty handsy for what it's worth. And he's got to do his best to avoid foul trouble because they are thin. And not only are they thin, right? If you look at their 8 guys, Fultz, point guard, Ross, 2, maybe a 3. The way I understand Houston and Harris, I'm not going to pretend to know Houston and Harris. They're just wings. They're 2s and 3s. Look at their size. Where is the size? It's Bull who is kind of a center, but he's not really a center, right? He's tall like a center, is tall, but he's not really a center. I guess he can play center. And there's Admiral Schofield. He's got some height on him, but that's it. They have so few bigs.
Schofield's not DFS relevant, right?
I think he is. He's not my favorite. He's 3K.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess in that situation, he becomes pretty relevant.
Yeah. I think we're giving him, like, amongst the starters, we're assuming the starters are Fultz, Wagner, Bencaro, Bull, and Schofield, which I think is a reasonable assumption. Like, I don't think Houston or Harris starts, and Ross is going to be kind of the sixth man. And I think he's super interesting too.
We're giving Schofield 26 minutes at 3K. They really have no center.
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about the other side. We'll talk about it in a second, but like, who's going to stop Porzingis? Like, who's doing that for Orlando? Nobody, right? I don't think so.
With Beal out of the lineup, 30% usage rate for Porzingis, 29% for Kuzma. Porzingis is definitely going to be more popular, I would say, than Kuzma. He always is. I don't mind the pivot to Kuzma at 8,300.
Yeah. And Beal not officially out, right? Unless I missed something.
No, he's not. He's questionable.
Yeah. And Taj Gibson's questionable. Who cares? Yeah. I mean, I didn't go through all your Orlando guys that are out. We're just talking about there's 8 players. If we didn't talk about them, assume they're not available. No Mo Wagner, Suggs, Bamba, Harris, Hampton, Okiki, Wendell Carter, Cole Anthony, all those guys are gone. All right. Yeah. But this is the game. You got to get this right. You're saying you're capping Orlando at 4 or 3?
3 or 4, yeah. I think that's the best way to approach it.
Yeah, it's kind of the tricky thing because, again, it's the first game and some news might.
I'm playing smaller field contests too tonight, so I think like if I'm probably having more than I would if I was playing the $15. I don't know what people are kind of playing right now.
Should acknowledge on FanDuel, like, Fultz is more expensive. He's 6'8", still getting like 40% ownership as of a few hours ago. Again, we're going to give a refresh to this. I think Terrence Ross is like, I don't want to say the wild card, but, and this is not the same situation, but we saw it 4 or 5 years ago where he scored 50 real life points in the bucket for Toronto. Remember that happened? I don't know if you were playing DFS at the time.
He was. No, I was. Terrence Ross, at this point, he's so long in the tooth, it's kind of tough to expect that from Terrence Ross, but I feel like he can. There was a time when he could score in bunches off the bench. Maybe as a night, who knows? They are very shorthanded. It is versus Washington as well.
He's still only 31. He does feel like he's older than that. Yeah.
He's 31. Yeah, I thought he was. He's definitely like the oldest on that team, I would imagine.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think as far as the 8 guys. And yeah, Michael's asking about bringing up guys from the G League. To my knowledge, that's not happening. That's not a thing. Maybe we'll get a beat talking about that. To my knowledge, this is not changing. It's 8 players. I mean, I don't know. Are Houston and I guess they're on the roster typically. Houston and Harris, right? They'll work in every once in a while. But I'm just looking at age now. Yeah, definitely. Ross has got to be the oldest guy, unless Houston and Harris have been around for a while and I'm just not aware of it. But I think those guys are young too. Mr. Gerg in the chat saying Schofield could play 30 minutes. I suppose he could. I suppose that's possible. I don't think that's likely. But, we're putting a projection on it. We're giving 27, which, again, it's possible to get to 30. Not a great fantasy point minute player, but, again, he's 3K. This is one of those things, though, where he's 3K and he's got to put up more than like 20. I need more than 20 at 3K.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I do think
it's doable versus the Wizards.
Yeah. I think I'm really interested in Ross on FanDuel is 3.7. On DK, you get that 3-point bonus, 3-1. We're giving him 21 fantasy points, by the way, which, 28 minutes, 21 fantasy points. I think he's I think he's a guy that could put like 21 points in the bucket. Now that's kind of what he does, and he's not going to do a heck of a lot else necessarily. He might actually have to run some point though, because we talk about Orlando being thin on bigs. Look at the Orlando roster and who's like a ball handler, because they don't really have that either.
I think I definitely prefer Ross to Schofield. 3-1 for Ross. Wow, 28 minutes. If he's going to see point guard duty, I think
he might have to. Like whenever Fultz is going to play 38 minutes, so maybe the 10 minutes of Fultz is not running point. Maybe it's Ross. I don't know.
We have our stuff has Ross hitting a good percentage of the time. We have him at 45% of the time. I wonder what his smash percentage is.
We got him 45%. Yeah. And again, even if he's not starting, I'm fine with it because I think he still gets plenty of run. Yeah, they can run Franz. Franz can run hold the ball as well too. Franz Wagner, who's very much a play. I'm just trying to figure out how much How much Orlando is too much Orlando? And I think I would have a minimum of 2 on my lineups.
I think a minimum of 2, yeah, definitely. You need to be playing Orlando guys. Like, you're not going to get away with not playing an 8-man rotation.
I just think, I know sometimes you want to get away from the early game. Sometimes you want to get away from chalk and all that. But this isn't a baseball game where a team's just like not good and they're going to get shut out. And they're going to put up 0 runs.
Yeah.
Like, the Magic are going to score 100 points, at least, theoretically. You know, it's they have to have somebody pay it off. Yeah, it's all so good. Do you have a favorite amongst these guys? Bancaro and Wagner, you know, they're priced they're not the bargain that
I think Fultz would be my favorite from this Magic team. So he's going to see the minutes. He's really coming into his own this year. It's going to be ball dominance. Just a good. We have him for 36 minutes. He's fantasy point per minute guy on DK. I think it's a very good Fultz spot.
Yeah, and like they kind of babied his minutes, you know, when he was coming back from injury. But let me see. I feel like he's kind of away from that. 35 to 40, I think it's in play, which is, you know, just wild. It just feels really, really good to get on this Orlando side. What do we have? What has his minutes been of late? I was checking it earlier today. I just want to don't get the wrong numbers. Yeah, 28, 28, 24, 29, 33, 30. So I think we can get, and there's been some blowouts there. I know he's had some injuries mid-game. I know he's had some foul trouble as well in some games. Yeah. So if you're making your lineup right now, I'm not going to hold you to it. Who's the first Magic player you're putting in? I think on DK, I think mine is Bull.
I think it's Bull. Yeah, it's definitely Bull. I when you asked originally, I thought you were asking of like the main like 3 between Fultz, Franz, and Banchero. But yeah, Bull for the value. He's the easiest to just kind of plug in there.
Yeah, he's got some versatility too. Power forward / center. Again, a little bit trickier on Fanduel, and you're going to be able to get him at distinctly lower ownership over there. 35% on DK. Somebody got Bull at 20.5 points and rebounds. I feel pretty good about the over on that. Nicely done. Murdaugh in chat. Fanduel wise for Bull. Yeah, we're looking at like 9-10% on Fanduel because again, he's 6'5", distinctly more expensive, and center and center only. So I think he's a really strong Fanduel tournament play. Like he could put up 45 or 50 points at 6'5", and then that could be very usable. And again, the minutes might get up to 37, 38, 39.
Who's the main center on Fanduel? It would be Embiid or Porzingis, you think?
Say it again?
Who's going to be the highest owned center on Fanduel? Probably Embiid or Porzingis?
I think our projections had a Kungwu again. Okay, so if you want to call Bobby Portis a center, which is power forward / center, he's 5'7" over there. We have him at 37%. We have a Kungwu at 39%. I think that's going to go down personally. Again, this will get updated. A Kungwu is a little bit more expensive than he has been, but I think he's fine. But I think that's way too high for a Kungwu at 39% ownership on Fanduel. To me, that's too high. And again,
I feel like that's an easy fade. I would much rather play Bull.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is like if you're playing Bull, like, it's how many Magic guys are you playing on Fanduel? I don't think I'm playing on Fanduel. I just don't have time to, just because doing content and being on the show, and I can only concentrate on one site, unfortunately. Oh, the starters are out. Let's see if we guessed correctly. Thank you for that. I mean, it's just a matter of the Admirals in there, right? Oh, Ross is starting. They're just saying, screw it. Let's just put all our best players. And yeah, I mean, I preferred Ross coming off the bench, but it's Ross, Fultz, Franz Wagner, Bancaro, Bull. Huh.
I still think you can get to Ross very easily starting, right?
Oh yeah, I just thought that I think this is going to affect his ownership. Is the point I was making.
Yeah,
like I think people are going to if you were on the fence about Ross, and I didn't care because 8 guys, he's going to get some run, but yeah, man,
I would prefer him off the bench too. I think just because he'd be probably the carrying, he'd have the most usage off the bench. Fultz is obviously going to cut in now. Still 3-1.
Yeah. I wonder. I mean, I know well, let's see. What are we giving him? Like, I think we're giving him like 28 minutes, and I'll leave this for the projection team, obviously. But I imagine it's going to creep up maybe 3 or 4 more minutes. We're giving him 28. I bet you that jumps to like 33 now, maybe 34. Yeah, it's an awesome play at 34 minutes. I know that, like you said, slight usage, but like, you're going to be playing with the same guys throughout this entire game because they're not coming off the court mostly. So even the benefactor of coming off the bench with like less usage guys, that's not really in existence as much today as it would be in a typical day. Oh man, they all look so good, but I think Ross and Bull like starting your lineup with that. It's because Banchero and Wagner are going to be lesser owned, right? That makes the most sense. They're more expensive.
I would think that they're going to be lesser owned. Yeah.
Yeah, I
think Wagner might come in ahead of Banchero. What do we have? The ownership between the two of them?
Yeah, we need an update on it. It's going to be coming in, but as of 2 hours ago, Wagner at 24%, Banchero at 24%, Ross 25%, and that's only going higher. I promise you. Yeah. Fultz at 31%, Bull 35%. That's DK. That's large field. Single entry. The single entry, the small single entry stuff you're playing, it's going to be higher than that for sure. How ownership condenses. And Schofield, for what it's worth, is going to, I don't want to say fully tumble, but it's going to drop. We had Schofield at 23%. That will definitely drop. Which makes him kind of sort of interesting, I guess. But, his minutes are going to dip a little bit, and he's not a great fantasy player. But, of course, he's going to play probably 22 minutes at least. That's still a minimum. So, things can happen.
Yeah,
go ahead.
We're going to come down. I don't mind Schofield. I even, if I'm playing large field stuff, I'm having exposure to all these Magic. I don't think I'm going to play him in single entry. Doubt I'll play him in 3 max, but making more than 10 teams or 20 teams, I think you can get to Schofield.
If you're playing 20 teams, I think he should be in your pool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a good answer, but Houston and Harris, should they be in your large field pool? I was looking at their stuff, and they're not good, usage-wise. I don't know how much run they're even going to get. Again, they could just basically run mostly 6 guys, right?
Yeah.
They're
not really good fantasy point per minute guys, right? 0.5
really
to 0.6. Yeah. I think it's just the Ross, Bull, Schofield in terms of the value Magic.
Yeah, I think I'm just picking from 6 of the 8, and I'm just ignoring Houston and Harris. Harris in the season, 0.68 fantasy points per minute. Wait, I'm sorry, that was Gary Harris. Kevin Harris, 0.64. And Houston, I think, is worse. Yeah, Houston, 0.48.
He's a tough roster.
10% usage. Harris has 13% usage. It's just not that appealing. Things happen, but I don't think so. I don't think I'm getting there. The Washington side, the run backs, if you want to run something back, if you want to have the very first game out the gate, kind of a game stack. We don't know about Beal. My lean is Beal doesn't play, but don't know. And again, I asked before, there's a lot of good big spends in the slate. Giannis, of course. LeBron is an awesome big spend. Pascal always in play. Both centers, like Embiid and, the Joker, are both playing basketball tonight. Porzingis. How do you feel about Porzingis as a run back? And I guess Kuzma as well. But I think Porzingis, I believe you said that you like him more than Kuzma. I do as well. I don't know who's slower tonight.
Porzingis always – I really like Porzingis as a run back. He'd be my favorite. I do think Kuzma gets lost in the shuffle in these situations. So don't mind getting to him either, but would prefer Porzingis.
Other pieces on Washington?
Daniel Gafford, maybe 4-4. I think you can take a shot there. His price tag, we got him for 20 minutes. I don't know exactly how much I love Gafford, but he was seeing more minutes, but a little while back. I don't know why he's hitting some of my stuff. But he would be the only one I'd have interest in.
I would just throw like Rui into the conversation as a maybe. Like we've seen his minutes creep up a little bit. He's been better of late, but Washington's got so many guys. And the problem is just like, and I try not to do this, but I'm just going to be comparing all these guys to the Magic guys. And it's like, how do I roster Gafford over, Terrence Ross or Bull Bull? I know different positions, different prices, but same sort of thought process. And there'll be some other things like that throughout the slate. But, the ownership's going to reflect it as well. But I think Porzingis as a run back looks awesome. Kuzma, and again, especially if Beal is out, we'll see. We'll get news, if not on this show, the Crunch Time show. Checking the old Twitter to see if we're getting anything there. Maybe at 5:30 we'll get something as far as Washington. Otherwise, I'm ready to move on. But again, Orlando is a can't ignore. At least 2 Orlando pieces for me on every TK team. I think you can get away with playing 1 on Fanduel, but and we're capping it at 4 or 3. We're not sure yet.
I guess you could cap it at 3. I think you want me to say 3 for some reason.
No. I don't know.
4 is hitting optimals. I think you do 3, but definitely get at least 2.
I mean, starting with Ross, Bull, and then it feels. But then you're like, now you're just making the lineup that everybody else is making, which is it's so good though.
I think it's fine we're talking NBA, like it's fine to play the right chalk, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. There's a reason why the chalk is the chalk in basketball. And I saw somebody last night. I can't remember the term they used. I don't know if they're trolling or not on the Twitter. They were just upset. But they said they basically called Randall like a donkey play last night. And I'm like, what? Like there are donkey plays. But
was that Jesse?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Jesse.
Jesse's a good little tilt to watch. He's good fun to watch tilt on.
I don't know how serious he is sometimes, but like
I think half the time I think he's blunt. Yeah. He's not really. He's very sarcastic.
Yeah, but like, come on, Randall. If you were, 40 minutes versus the worst defense in the league, and you're without 2 of the of your starters, why are we surprised? We're actually surprised. Bad play. Oh my God, Randall went off. Who would have saw that coming? And this is not a victory lap, but like he was like the guy that I put me and other people featured as like the best play on the slate in the expert survey. Like, duh. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the next game. It's Phoenix. It's Toronto. 221 is the total. As far as the body parts are monitoring here, Freddie VanVleet, he did not play yesterday. This is the back half of back-to-back for Toronto. Precious Achiuwa, questionable again. My lean is that Freddie sits again. We'll see. Stay tuned. As far as Phoenix, they're still without Booker. That's going to be for a while campaign and Landry Shamet. It's – again, like this slate's so straightforward. You're going to get a lot of good plays or play plays that just so low ownership. The way it's going to condense, we'll talk about Giannis. Like it's just going to be Giannis and the Magic, and like duh. And certainly you can go elsewhere if you want to, but that's where everything's going to point you. You like anything as far as Toronto, Phoenix? I guess we're in somewhat of a limbo for FBV. No matter what, Pascal is a good play, and he's going to be low owned, and he might play 42 minutes. The Raptors, what do you got?
Yeah, so OG sees a 2% usage increase. Pascal 1% usage increase with VanVleet out. VanVleet at 7,600 is probably a good play if he plays. And then on the other side of that, Scotty Barnes would be someone I'd have interest in as well. It's just the main Toronto guys, really. But yeah, Siakam, like I feel like if you're playing a lot of Siakam this year, you're likely doing well in NBA DFS because he's been pretty good. So I don't mind getting into some Siakam here. Don't mind getting to OG or Scotty Barnes. And if VanVleet were to play at 7,600, I wouldn't hate that either.
Yeah, we talk about this one all the time with Pascal and like projections and all that. It's really hard to project him for more than 38 minutes, but he can play 40, 41. And if you just manually manipulate it yourself, he played 38 last night. I think that game, was that a blowout where he played 38 minutes? Did the game blow out a little bit? Why do I feel like the game blew out? Toronto and Memphis. It did, right?
It may have. I was at dinner, so I can't totally confirm.
All right.
I usually watch every game.
Let's see. Okay, a 13-point lead, maybe he was on the court to the last minute. The point is, though, like Pascal, when things go right, he's playing 40, 41, sometimes even 42, and we just don't project for that. But if you manually manipulate it, of course, he would pop even more. Right now, he's not popping so much. He's good. 48 fantasy points for 10-point K and DK is a median score. That's not winning you anything. You're not necessarily losing because of it, but ownership reflects 4%. You talk about OG and Scotty in the mid tier. They're both perfectly fine. They would get, they would get their bumps if FEV sits. Bradley Beal, by the way, officially out. So, I feel a little bit better about Vegas. Yeah, and Kuzma as well. We will be waiting on news for Freddie and Precious. Maybe we get Precious tonight. Not saying you play him, but he would kind of muck things up as far as Wancho and Coloco. It doesn't matter. You're not playing any of those guys. Not on this slate. Boucher, I can imagine getting any of them. How about Phoenix? How do you feel about the Suns?
Yeah, so Devin Booker out, Paul, Bridges, Ayton all continue to kind of assume their roles in this Phoenix offense, getting all the usage. Those guys, they're with their prices being what they are, I don't feel like I'm getting to a ton of them in my first couple runs, but I don't mind getting to an Ayton or a CP3 if feel like going there. But not too much. I like Jock Landale played pretty well the other night. I think it was Tuesday night. But I think there's just better centers in the slate too. So not really many Phoenix guys for me.
Yeah, I can't get. I mean, theoretically, Chris Paul should be able to have a big game in him with the absence of Booker, but hasn't quite got there. And you're not getting a huge discount as far as the price. 7.9 on DK, 8.4 on Fanduel. In the pool, if you're running 150 for sure. Ownership's not there. Ownership's not going to be on a lot of guys tonight, so it's not hard to get over. If you want to get over, we're looking at 4%, 8 and at 13% on DK. We did get an update, by the way, as far as projections on DK. We're not getting an ownership projection update. That'll be coming in soon, but curious what the new optimals are saying. Producer Steve is trolling us, or trolling me, saying 25 minutes in the first game. Well, yeah, the first game, not all games are created equal. That first game is very, very important. It's very much, you got to get that one right. It's not to be ignored. We are starting, we're going with Terrence Ross for 32 minutes for the record. That is our projection. Official Orlando projection, 36 for 3 starters. For Fultz, Banchero, Wagner, 35 for Bol, 32 for Ross, 25 Houston, 23 Schofield, 17 for Harris is the official projection as of right now. All right. Is there much else to say as far as Phoenix, Toronto?
So who's your favorite Raptor if FEV were to sit, just quickly?
I want it to be Pascal, but now salaries matter. It matters too, but Pascal looks awesome. It's still going to be it's not going to be Flynn. It's going to be one of, Pascal, OG, or Barnes. Probably whichever one fits amongst OG or Barnes, to be honest.
Yeah. I think I'd prefer Barnes to OG because he's going to assume more of the ball handling.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I think that's a good call. It's probably Pascal, Barnes, OG. It's salary dependent, I think, what I have left. But, I don't know if I'm going to have money for Pascal. But I probably should try to – if I'm making enough lineups, I definitely want him in there. I don't think I'm making enough lineups to get him. But we'll see. Stay tuned. Javon in chat saying Giannis or Sabonis. Oh, man, I wrote up Sabonis today as my favorite tournament play. We'll get to that. Love Sabonis. He came back from his injury. I guess it's kind of a broken thumb. He's playing with it. And however much it hurts, he took 18 shots his last game, his first game back. He's facing a Utah Jazz team that gives up the most points in the paint to opponents. He scores 62, 63, 64% of his points in the paint. Last game took 18 shots. He took two threes and made them both. So I assume it's a pain tolerance thing. He had his finger wrapped, but he's good to go and he's fine. I think Sabonis is awesome for tournaments, but certainly Giannis is the better play. But if you want to factor in ownership, you want to play that game, don't be upset if Giannis outscores him. He probably will. And he's also more expensive. I like them both for the record. I'm trying to get shares of both. If you're playing cash games, the answer is Giannis.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think both of them are very good plays. Sabonis is a good call there at 10-3.
Are people going to be – I was hesitant his first game back. Like, how is this guy going to shoot? I think it was on his offhand too, but I didn't want to play him his first game back. Also, it was like a night game, so like it was like he was still questionable going into the slate. And are we going to have this song and dance like all season long? Is he even questionable every single game? I guess not. I guess he's just going to deal with it. But you think people are scared of the thumb, or they look at the projection? The projection's good, and he was good the first game, and that's that.
I think that's that. I think they're going to go right back to him, especially with the matchup.
Yeah.
But yeah, Giannis, if you're playing cash, it's Giannis. But like Dean said, Sabonis is a really good GPP play.
Breaks in chat is asking if Porzingis in play. You like Porzingis a good bit. I like
Porzingis. Yeah, I think Porzingis grades out well. You're taking Beal out. His usage rate was like, would we have it like 30% in that situation? Like, I really like Porzingis.
And again, like look at the Orlando. Like, they don't have Wendell Carter in there. Like, there's no, I don't know, Jonathan Isaac. Not that he would be there anyway, but just trying to think of bodies they can possibly have in the middle that can make things a little tougher. It's going to be pretty easy, basketball easy, to go to work on the inside if you want to. Of course, Porzingis can step back into threes as well. Lakers at the Hawks, 242.5. That is the total. It's a big boy number. The Lakers are getting 6 points. Atlanta, we are Trae Young back from his calf. Capella is still out. We are projecting Collins to start at the 4, Okongwu to start at the 5. Hunter is questionable as well with his ankle. LeBron turns 38 today. 38-year-old LeBron James, narrative streets. He's available. He was questionable earlier today. He's going to give it a go with his ankle. Lonnie Walker has got a tailbone, so he's questionable. I guess that's a butt, right? Tailbone, essentially.
Tailbone's a butt, yeah.
Yeah. That's the official body part, I suppose. I think LeBron is an awesome play here. I know our defense versus archetype stuff, which you talk about sometimes. I think it was the number one matchup. If you call LeBron a versatile forward, I guess we can call him. He's like anything, right? I guess you can call him a versatile forward. It's the best matchup in basketball. He's kind of pivoted away from Giannis. I think you can play them both. I really like LeBron. Like, those are like my 3 favorite plays, like Giannis, LeBron, and Sabonis as far as big spends tonight. How do you feel about LeBron tonight?
I think LeBron's a great play. This is going to be up and pace game. Birthday LeBron, the narrative's there. I don't 10-1 for LeBron. You're saving the money off Giannis. You're even saving 200 off Sabonis. I think LeBron's a fantastic play tonight. And the question is, are there like other Lakers that we're going to want to get to in this game? Like, I see like Schroeder, Austin Reeves. Are these guys like I really want to play? Schroeder, a little revenge there, 4,800. I think that's a good tag. Austin Reeves, 3,900. I don't want to play much Austin Reeves. I'd much rather play the Magic guys. But yeah, would you have any interest in any of these Lakers guys outside of LeBron?
I think the interesting thing is that we're giving a lot of respect to Russ Westbrook. We're giving him 19% ownership on DK. His price is down to 7.5. Presuming he comes off the bench, we got 29 minutes and a 40-point projection. It's a pretty healthy projection. Would it be Trae Young that's guarding him? But that's a big projection number for Russ, and the price is pretty good. So I was a little surprised to see him. I don't want to say popping, but yeah. And Schroeder, like you said, you brought it up. Like, we're comparative shopping. And how do I buy Schroeder when I can buy, one of these dudes on Orlando, right? Like, how do I do that?
Yeah, it's tough to really pick any of these Lakers over the Orlando guys.
I mean, certainly,
it is interesting with the Westbrook. Like, we have him at 19% ownership. I feel like, I don't know, I'd be trying to be under that. Is that a bad take? I know it's a good price tag, but
would you play him with LeBron as my follow up? I'm curious.
I'd just much rather have LeBron.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have LeBron, and let's see, our ownership. Okay, so ownership is updated at 342. It'll get an update soon. Maybe it changes to some degree. I think LeBron's going to be a little bit more owned than 15%. But if LeBron is less owned than Russ currently 19, I think it's a little high personally, but again, this is not. I don't sit around and figure this stuff out. Somebody put more thought into it, put that number on there. So I'm probably more likely wrong than right on these things. Okungwu on the other side is the one that's kind of outrageous. Now, DK versus Fanduel, it's a different story. DK, you can roster 2 centers. Okungwu is 5'3" on DK, which is much, much, much different than his price on Fanduel, which is 6'2". Still on Fanduel, we have a 40% ownership, which to me is outrageous. I feel like this has been the case like for all week about Okungwu. Am I making this up? Are we living in Groundhog Day with Okungwu? Constantly being like a mega ownership projection.
I think people are going to play Okungwu again tonight. Is that wrong to say on DK?
I think they are too. Yeah. I think they're going to play him. Yeah. But I think they're playing Bull over him. Of course, you can move Bull.
I would much rather play Bull over Okungwu.
Yes. Yeah, but our ownership on FanDuel, and again, this goes down 39%. Seems a bit much for my liking. Andre Drummond returning to Detroit. Yes, I did not catch that narrative. They're talking about in the chat, starting a Jordan versus LeBron conversation, which is always a lot of fun. The people love that one, right? Because I thought that was it always gets settled at the end. Somebody always says, you know what?
LeBron, right. He's 6'9", 6'10", 6'11". How do you stop 260?
It's ridiculous. Yeah, like what is the one thing Jordan has that like LeBron can't do? And that's sort of a
There's nothing. I don't think there's anything.
No, but he's got the tenacity, some sort of adjective that people just make up.
They just
he's
make
got the will to win
because he was playing against like Danny Ainge and all like that.
He was playing against plumbers. My favorite is like the LeBron.
Have you seen that spoof video on YouTube?
No, I don't think so. What is it?
It's like someone like basically talking about like Jordan, and then someone it's like a speech over, and just they're making fun of all like the Celtics and guys in the league that probably wouldn't be in the league today just because they're not as athletic.
Yeah. It's funny. Somebody mentioned Andre Drummond. Like before, I've said it before. Like Drummond, like would have been an all-star if he was in the league 30 years.
Drummond might have been the best player. Drummond might have been better than Jordan. That age. Who's stopping Drummond in that era?
Yeah, it's you can't compare eras and whatever. It's a whole thing. I just love that people like to dunk on LeBron for like losing in the finals. Like this man made it to the finals 6 times, more than that, but lost. He's a loser because his team. Only 2 teams making the finals, but he's the biggest loser because he's lost in the finals.
I think he's shaking that though, right? Like, I feel like he's shaking.
People still say they say 6 losses in the finals. It's like
the other thing is like Jordan had Pippen the whole time, right? Pippen, Rodman.
Yes, Pippen was there. Mm-hmm. His is it Scottie Pippen's kid? No, it's Scottie. What's the story? I don't get into the team.
I used to be one of these guys that was like a big Jordan hardo, and I've totally changed through DFS the last 10 years. I don't know.
I mean,
it seems like LeBron's. I don't know. It would be very. I think LeBron would be much more difficult to deal with if I was an NBA player. Yeah.
Bigger, stronger, faster, better defender, better rebounder, better.
People are probably killing me in the chat right now. I can't.
Well, the chat because they you know what? Nostalgia's undefeated, man. Don't ruin their childhood and tell them that like Michael Jordan.
I know, but it's the reality of the situation. Like I feel the same way. Like I want Jordan to be better than him too. It's just I'm not even a LeBron. I'm not a big fan of LeBron. It's just the logic of that. You think of all the players today that are just health wise. They have nutritionists. All these guys.
Sure,
league is just so much better.
Yeah, there's obviously an edge in that too, and your opponents are doing it as well, which again, so it kind of balances it out as far as your era, but it brings in a whole bunch of elements that like there's never any clarity on it, and the whole rings thing, like why isn't Bill Russell the greatest ever? If we're gonna do the rings argument, like if that's your argument on Jordan, then Russell's better, but he was playing against legit.
He'd probably be like a 12th man in this league. What would he be in this league? Like he wouldn't even be able to. He'd be Houston on Orlando. Right?
I mean, he was supposedly good, but like I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know. Like against the players he played against, he was spectacular. We can say that. All right. How about Atlanta? How do you feel about Atlanta? LeBron, awesome play. You can get some Russ, I guess, but I think We both like LeBron a good bit. Not really going much beyond that. The Hawks. How do we feel about the Hawks? We're not sure about Hunter. He's questionable. Trae Young, good to go. The Okongwu situation, man, I like him on DK at that price too, but I don't know, man. He's a guy that can disappear points-wise. But he's
he's a good play on DK. I would still prefer, like we already kind of hit on Bol. Capella being out, he's going to step into those minutes, but he can, he's been a ceiling guy recently, but in the past, like you said, he's gone away. So if I had to pick between the two, it's going to be Bol. I think Trae Young's very much in play. If Hunter's out, Griffin and Bogdanovich would get some of his minutes, so they'd be guys you could kind of look to in larger field stuff. I don't know. For me, it'd be mainly Okongwu and Trae Young, though.
See a question in chat. Dex is asking, I don't know what's going on here. Dex, Javon Carter, Jackson Hayes, or Goran Dragic for a cheap man on DK. Like, why? Okay, I'm not here. I'm trying to say it nicely. Why are we talking about Jackson Hayes on this slate and Goran Dragic in this slate? What are we doing? We're not playing those guys, right? Like Jackson Hayes is projected to score like 12 points, probably, maybe. Do not overthink. I mean, there's going to be really good plays that are going to be like 5% owned. Dragic, how old is Dragic? He can't play many minutes these days, and I think is Caruso available. And for what it's worth, I mean, I don't think it matters. Yeah, Caruso's available. Kobe White has got a knee, so in theory, there's some minutes that can open up. But no, we're not playing Goran Dragic, right? I don't think so. Like, no. So you got to pick one. It's Javon Carter, who was terrible last time out. His minute path is a little better in the absence of Hill. He's not closed because he was bad. And I think Wes Matthews and George Hill closed. But the best amongst those three is Javon Carter. All right. We got anything else as far as Atlanta and the Lakers?
That's it. We can move into this Pistons-Bulls game.
Huh.
Is that what's next? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just reading a comment in chat and I'm trying to figure out.
Are they still getting after me for the Jordan take?
I mean, there's a lot of people. Yeah. I mean, it's not besmirching Jordan. It's just, I had a poster of Jordan on my wall too.
I did too. That's what I'm saying. It's just
just a friendly reminder, Brian Scalabrine is closer to talent to LeBron James than we are to Brian Scalabrine, which, I mean, it says a lot about us.
It's very true.
Like, Scalabrine is talented, for sure. But, I mean, I'm not even close to Scalabrine. And he was like, people would joke about him, like waving the towel and whatever.
I think I have an interesting story about Scalabrine.
If you cross paths, he's a Boston guy,
crossed
right?
paths at a bar one time, yeah.
Do you have anything lovely to say about him or negative to say about him, or you want to put out there?
I think he was a little drunk. He tried to kiss my ex-girlfriend, but no, I did not get mad. He was absolutely hammered. Yeah, it probably wouldn't have been good for me.
Was she like? Was she? Is that why she's your ex, or was she not? Or is the whole thing he was putting?
No. She. I think this was like before we started. We were just like talking at the time, but
yeah.
No, we were dating. No, she didn't. She like moved back. And the place in Boston. It was a very, very interesting spot late night.
Okay, fair enough. By the way, we have FEV.
Little TMI there. I crossed the TMI.
Oh no, I was curious. I wanted more information actually. I'm just naturally curious though.
It wasn't bad.
Fresh is not coming back tonight, and no Freddie, as we kind of talked about. So, your incremental bumps to Scotty Barnes, OG, Pascal, Toronto guys, man, they're definitely worth a look. They're definitely in play tonight, and maybe you get Flynn. I just don't know how excited I am about that. And, they still have options.
I think it's Barnes and Siakam. Obviously OG, but for me, the priorities would be Barnes and Siakam if you're playing any Toronto guys.
Yeah, I mean, Trent is one of those guys if you think he's just going to get hot and super efficient, I guess, maybe cool, but, he's got to make his shots, which he was making last night, so good for him. But that has been few and far between this season. He's been kind of inconsistent. Detroit and the Bulls. Next up is an 8:00 game. The Bulls. We have Caruso is available to play with his shoulder. Kobe White is questionable with his knee. Javonte Green's available. DJJ, I feel like he hasn't played for a while. Derek Jones Jr. is questionable as well. The Bulls, the Pistons, some suspensions. Hamidou Diallo doesn't really matter. Killian Hayes, that one matters to some degree, and that's what's getting Alec Burks in our starting lineup projection. Not certain he's going to start. They do have 11 players, right, that are available for Detroit. And not the same deal with Orlando. Bagley's available to play. He had an illness. He's good to go. So Marvin Bagley will be backing Jalen Duran, presumably. I don't know if Burke starts. They might start Corey Joseph, and I don't think I'm falling for that if he starts. He is
Burke played very well the other night. I think he had 50.
I did not play Burks. I was upset because he was like the last man standing. All the guys got kicked out of the game, and he crushed.
He didn't start, I don't think. Did he start? I don't think he started. I could be wrong.
No, he didn't start that game, but he had to. I'm trying to remember when that happened. The second quarter or third quarter. He had to play a bunch of minutes later on in the game.
Because of Killian, yeah.
How do you feel about...
He was doing well without Killian in the game.
I don't feel good about Alec Burks.
Prior to Killian going out. How do I feel about all these in terms of, like, who are you talking? Just Detroit guys?
I don't like playing Detroit as like a general thought, and I don't like playing Alec Burks as a general thought. Furthermore, and now he's going to be chalky. We're giving him starters minutes. Let me just go ahead and check where we're at. Jumper. We're giving him 30 minutes, fantasy point per minute, 4.4K on DK, 35% ownership. Man, like it's a good play, and the Bulls aren't a team we're afraid of, obviously. I don't like trusting Detroit, but they're a little bit thin. They may start Corey Joseph. Again, I don't know if I'm going to go there anyway. We're giving him 24 minutes for what it's worth. They are a bit thin. I don't know what to do. I don't like
the eligibility for Burks. I think makes him someone you're going to have to be overweight with on this slate. I get why if he didn't start, you'd have your reservations, but if he's starting, I would just play
him. Oh boy, we upset Big Hurt. By the way, Big Hurt's not happy. You know how you know when you're not happy is that they put it in caps, and he wants to know how many first-time all defensive teams does LeBron have. I don't know, 2, 3.
I don't know. Sorry, Mr. Big Hurt. Hope I didn't offend you.
What's funny is the name Big Hurt, and Big Hurt Frank Thomas is hurting, not happy. It's fine. It's okay. But Jordan's great. But I don't. What is the number? Now I'm kind of curious. What's the difference because LeBron's a great defender. We're dunking on LeBron for having maybe one less all defensive teams than Jordan had.
Pippen just gets no credit in this Bulls situation for what it's worth. I keep saying.
What about Luke Longley?
He came later on though, right? Like he wasn't in.
No, Luke Longley was like terrible. He just kind of he was just there.
Yeah.
Like, Bill Wennington and.
I was thinking of Kukoc. Kukoc came. Kukoc was the end.
He could play, yeah. Back to the Pistons. I don't know what to do with these guys because I don't like playing them, but the math says you should play Burks for what it's worth.
I don't mind playing Burks. I think he's a good play. Is the DK price for Sadiq Bey 4.3? That's his current DK price. I wouldn't hate Sadiq, but I think Burks is definitely the priority from the Pistons.
I think Bey is interesting. If you're running 150, he should probably be in your pool. We're running 26 minutes for the record. Bogdanovich, I think, is in play. I hate just that sounds like a cop out, but yeah, he's in your large field stuff. Probably not going to make my 3 lineups or whatever it is. 12% ownership projection.
I feel the same about Bogey.
He's fine.
Yeah.
But I
think I'm higher on Burks than you are.
Yeah, and I might end up playing him begrudgingly, but if he's the guy that the reason why I'd lose at night, man, why am I playing Burks? You're asking for it.
We could get news to where he's not as good of a play, coming later on, right? I would imagine.
So it's possible Joseph starts, but Burks can also be play 30 minutes off the bench, and Joseph can disappear. That could happen too. Burks, by the way, only 31. I thought he was older than that. He feels older than that in my head. He's kind of like Ross, right? Similar. Veteran, 6-man, can come off the bench, shoot a bunch if you want him to shoot a bunch. Ross is much cheaper and in a better spot, but Burks, you should probably play them both if you're playing cash games on DK. On FanDuel, I believe he's more expensive. Let me just confirm this. I think he's in the 5s over there where he's not this 5-3 over on FanDuel. Still a good play, obviously, but not as strong as he is on DK. I'm pulling up this when this incident happened for Orlando. When did everybody come off in mass? Trying to figure out when that happened. Where's Burks? Pulling up the court. Okay, so Burks started the second half. So this must have happened in the first half. Yeah. Okay.
He didn't play all right in the first. I thought he played good in the first half too.
Burks?
Yeah. Prior to him to Killian getting ejected.
He had about 19 fantasy points in the first half, but he had 32 points in the bucket for the game. But yeah, 32, 2, and 4. Yeah. By the way, Court IQ tool, if you guys are not aware, feel free to check it out. RotoGrinders.com/Court IQ. Not always to tell you exact rotations, but tells you fantasy points, what they got in the rotation, all that good stuff. Feel free to check that out. I'm not sure if it's a premium product or not. If it's just premium, well, if you're premium, feel free to check it out. If it's not, have at it. Take a peek. Anybody else in Detroit you think is worth noting? Jaden Ivey at 5'9", certainly in play. Pretty good price. Minutes rock solid. And then
I think
it's
just Burks for me. Maybe some Sadiq Bey if I'm running 150 and bogey.
How do you feel about Chicago?
I like Vooch is all the three guys for Chicago. I like playing Vucevic 7,600. I think it's a good price for him on DK. I think he would be my favorite. You could always play Levine. You could always play DeRozan. I think that Vucevic would likely be the guy that I'd want to get the most exposure to out of the three.
Looks like we got an ownership update, by the way, 544. So that's good to know. Maybe we'll jump back and see.
They're worried. So, like, if Kobe White's questionable, they think Dragic and Dasunumu get his minutes. That's where Dragic's coming in. I didn't realize Kobe White was questionable.
Yeah. I mean, how many minutes does Kobe White even play? Like 24 or something like that? And they'll probably get chopped. Again, for me, my thought is like not this slate. It's a good matchup against Detroit, obviously, and that's why. Trey. What? They say? I thought Trae Young was officially in. They're saying Hunter is out, and they're saying Trae Young is now a game time decision. Was he downgraded? I hate when because that means nothing's changed. But I thought he was officially ruled in yesterday. Wasn't he? Yesterday, they said he was good to go.
I thought he was good. I thought we had the. Did we get the update on the show yesterday for Young? No, it was some. We definitely got Friday updates, but
I thought it came yesterday, like last night or something. Maybe I'm missing something, but I thought we had probable for Trae Young, so maybe something's changed. I don't want to say it's a downgrade. It's just okay. Of note, apparently Young is now game time decision, but I thought he was in. But it's the NBA, so that's how things go. But yeah, good matchup all around for Levine, for DeRozan, for Vuk. Big win for him last time out versus Milwaukee. That was a fun game. Went to overtime. They should handle Detroit pretty easily. Got to pay for DeRozan. 9-1. Vuk, center only. That's why he's getting basically no ownership, 1% on DK. But Levine and DeRozan both in the mid to upper teens. So I like them both. I'm fine with both of them as individual plays here against Detroit. Is there anything else of note that we should talk about, or shall we move on?
I think we hit on it.
All right. Next game. Next game is Minnesota and Milwaukee. 228 is the total. Milwaukee is a 7-point favorite. There is no Middleton. There is no Drew Holiday. There is a lock button if you care to hit that. If you want to roster yourself Giannis Antetokounmpo, 40% usage, 1.7, 1.74, depending on where you're shopping as far as fantasy points per minute. When those guys are out, Gobert on the other side, for what it's worth, is questionable. He's ill. Ditto with Kyle Anderson, also questionable. Giannis, it's not the question if Giannis is a good player or a bad player, or a fish play is what they called Julius Randle yesterday. Get out of town with that. It's not a fish play to play Giannis. It's a question.
I got to figure out who tweeted this now.
Yeah, so I can't remember who it was, but somebody did it. You probably followed them. And I was like, what? What are we doing? Are you just joking? Yeah. So it's a question of ownership. It's a question of, lineup construction. How much are you prioritizing Giannis? Because of course it's an awesome play.
I really like Giannis. Want to get to him as much as possible. Think he's a fantastic play at 11-9. Think it's a great spot. Taking Middleton, taking Drew out. I think the lock button is definitely in play if you want to go that way. Javon Carter is another guy who I think is going to see a minutes increase. I don't mind him. These other guys on the Bucks, though, they let us all down the other night. Connaughton.
So did Carter.
Grayson Allen. Carter did as well, yeah. Who closed? It was
Wes Matthews, and it was Grayson Allen, I believe. And
George Hill didn't close, or George Hill was getting minutes. I know that for
Hill.
I see people tilting that.
Yes, old man George Hill closed. He's doubtful tonight, which clears the path a little bit more for Carter. I like Bobby Portis tonight again. On DK, he's going to be mostly ignored. We got 10% on that, but on Fanduel, he's going to be very, very popular, where he's like $600 cheaper, and he's a power forward center eligibility. Love Portis tonight on Fanduel. Like him on DK also. Carter at 3.9, his minutes are a little bit better in the absence of Hill. We're giving him 28. They still have plenty of dudes, right? Like Noir still exists. Jingle and Joe, they dust off. Joe Ingles, Connaughton, they have players. Nobody ever plays Brook Lopez, rightfully so, I guess, kind of, sort of, somewhat. Your favorite
Portis call at 6'3". Portis always kind of steps up in these situations, and he's the one that never gets owned.
Mm-hmm. And he's likely not gonna start, but he's still gonna play, 28 minutes, probably closes. And no Gobert has been disappointing this year, not great defensively, but I think it would help him if Gobert's not there. Matching up with Naz Reid, the second series stuff, I think is a benefactor. Reid, by the way, is really interesting if Gobert doesn't go, obviously. No Cat, we're aware of that. So Reid will be last big standing. What is his price? 4.9. He's like kind of. Yeah, I mean, like, we know that guy can smash it if Gobert's out and they give him 30 minutes. The matchup against Milwaukee is not spectacular. He can get handsy, and Giannis is not a good guy to have in the court when you get handsy. You can get yourself in foul trouble pretty quickly, but just I think Reid will become pretty interesting if Gobert doesn't go. Do we have a what if? I bet we do for Gobert. Maybe we do, maybe we don't.
If then is Reid, right? Like, I would imagine.
So if Gobert
would start at center and become a very solid value play, according to injury report.
We're projecting 40 fantasy points, DK, 39 Fanduel, 36 minutes on Naz Reid if Gobert doesn't go. That's a monster number. And again, he doesn't even have to hit that necessarily, but he becomes a really, really strong play if Gobert does not go. And I don't think it's the worst idea to kind of like placeholder it. Who knows how sick Gobert may or may not be. He can still get there, theoretically. It's ambitious. Because they've played Gobert and Reid alongside each other. Reid's been out playing him. There's really no way around that. Of course, they didn't trade 9 first-round picks for Reid, so they got to justify this Gobert thing as much as they can. But, Minnesota otherwise, you want to mention Edwards. Of course you can play Edwards. He's fully priced. Nobody's going to play him. He's there. Thoughts on Minnesota?
Edwards, Russell, always tournament plays. Gobert, if he plays, is fine in tournaments. But I think the best play, like you said, is if Gobert sits, you try to get to Naz Reid.
Philadelphia versus New Orleans. 229 is a total here. New Orleans is a 1-point dog. As far as who's in and who's out in this one, we're expecting Maxey to come back for Philly. So Philly's going to be fully healthy. Maxey probably doesn't play full minutes, but he will get some. New Orleans, without Brandon Ingram's been out for a while with that toe. Herb Jones, questionable for his conditioning issues. And Nance is doubtful neck. I think Valanciunas is a super, super interesting tournament play. Nance being doubtful, so more likely he closes. And opponent being Joel Embiid, a legit big boy on the other side. Embiid, even if Nance is healthy, Nance is probably like, man, my neck, I can't go. Give me the night off. Maybe Jackson Hayes or Willie Hernangomez get dusted off for some minutes to take some fouls against Embiid. But
Valanciunas' minutes are going to have to hike up a little bit versus Embiid.
He also can get in foul trouble, and Embiid also draws fouls. You really can't predict this stuff, but there's a chance that happens. There's also a chance Valanciunas plays like 33 minutes tonight. I think he's certainly interesting for tournaments. Start with New Orleans.
Yeah, Zion Williamson, he's been so good. Like, I don't mind. 9,800's a tough ask on this slate, but I think he's fine for like large field stuff. Jonas, I think, is my favorite play just because you're getting the matchup with Embiid and the opportunity for increased minutes. These other guys like Jackson Hayes, Willie Hernan-Gomez, I don't have much interest in. CJ McCollum, obviously, he's in play in tournaments, I guess. But for me, it'd probably be, I think the two plays are Williamson and Valanciunas.
Jackie asking in chat, who is not fine in tournaments? For me, CJ's not fine in tournaments. I would not play CJ McCollum, especially on Fanduel. He's like in the 9s. His price is still adjusting because he got pumped up in the absence of Zion when he was just running the show and it was all CJ and he was smashing. Now he's got to fall back. So the price is still too high for me for CJ, so I cannot get there. I'm not playing him, no matter how many lineups I make. Ownership wise, this game's going to go really under-owned. 4%
for Philly. No one's playing that on a 9-game slate.
Yeah, nobody's playing Philadelphia. Harden plays the most minutes in all of basketball per game. Maybe he loses a minute with Maxey back, not really sure, but he's not going to get played. We're looking at 3-4% on Harden, 4% on Embiid. Certainly you can play him. Like, there's no like math reason that says like Embiid's an awesome play today. Zion, it's not a great matchup either, but he's Zion and he can matchup proof and just bull his way to the basket. I think this game is like a more fun to watch than it is from a DFS perspective. If it goes nuts, I'm in trouble. But Valanciunas to me is the most fun play game when you consider everything for tournaments. But I don't really have much else here, unless you do. By all means, fire away.
Probably be Harden and Jovel. I think Harden and would be the stud that I've taped the shot on ahead of Zion in this game. But outside of that, really nothing.
Trying to see if there's any more news coming out. I don't see anything. Okay. Next up, Miami Heat at Denver in Mile High. 223 is the total. Miami is a 4-point dog here. Miami, as far as their players, we're expecting Butler to be back. Lowry is expected back from his personal issue. Caleb Martin's questionable. That doesn't really matter, though, because Miami's got all their key pieces and everybody's kind of priced up. And, Bam Adebayo against Jokic, he's going to be out there for a good bit, assuming he dodges foul trouble. But for me, Miami is one of the least interesting games or teams on this slate. I'm not going to pay 9-2 for Jimmy Butler. I just can't do that. Hero at 9K is egregious with everybody back. So it's basically an X for me for Miami. You tell me otherwise.
It's an X for me, too. The only one I would probably have, like, you can always play Jimmy and Bam, but Bam would be my favorite. I just don't like the Miami side at all. Full squad.
Yeah, so Jamal Murray is still dealing with his injury management. He's questionable. Bruce Brown is questionable with his ankle. Aaron Gordon's questionable with his shoulder, which I think he hurt dunking too hard. I'm pretty sure that's how he injured his shoulder, which is amazing. Such a good play. I don't know if it was worth getting knocked out for a couple of games. So it's, kind of up in the air as of right now. If they all play, none are spectacular. Obviously, you can always play Jokic. If they all get ruled out, do we have an if-then for that? I think we have an if-then for like at least one guy. If Murray doesn't go, because you saw Bones smashed last game. But that was with Brown out, Gordon out, and Murray out. I believe all three were out, and Bones started, and he crushed, and he was awesome. It could be a little dicier if like two of the three are in and one is out amongst Murray, Gordon, and Brown. But Murray would be the key one because then Bones would get more minutes in the backcourt. We have an if-then on Bones. If Murray sits, 34 DK points, 32 Fanduel points, 32 minutes projected. That's obviously assuming he starts. They bump up his price. What's his price today?
I think he becomes like for this slate, a good value. I just think you would want those other guys out. He's 5K. He's not as good as these Orlando guys or Alec Burks or some of these other pieces that we've talked about. But if you're stuck late and Murray's ruled out, I think you'd go to Bones.
Yeah, you got to be patient with Bones because they're probably not getting news on Murray, Gordon, and Brown. And like you said, you might get stuck or you're going to need a plan B because if all those guys play, Bones is like a bad play. It's a pretty bad play at 5K. Current projection right now, I think, is less than 20 points. But again, he's smashed. And he's only 5K on DK, so the price is pretty good. And they bumped it up a little bit. Yeah. It's just you're going to need some patience on that one. And I don't know if I'll have the spots even available at this point because there's so many plays we've already talked about that I happen to like. Is this 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock? 9 o'clock. So it's half hour beyond Philadelphia and New Orleans. Do we get this news before Minnesota, Milwaukee, and Detroit, Chicago? Because that's 8 o'clock. And then if we get that before then, and if they're all out, then we're moving to Bones.
Bones, yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, you have to make a decision. There's
Are we not playing Jokic? No one's playing Jokic on the slate. Interesting.
I mean, you can. There's no
to get to.
I don't think I'm playing him on like my one main team. It's not that I don't like Jokic. It's just, salary cap reasons. And as far as big spends, I have Giannis ahead of him. I got LeBron ahead of him. I got Sabonis ahead of him, I think. I probably have Pascal ahead of him. So, I don't think I'm doing it, but it doesn't mean you can't. Of course you can. That's
always like Joker.
Yeah. And by the way, we're talking about Bones. If Murray, Gordon, and Brown are out, like Joker's going to run the show. Like it's the Bones and Jokic show. Mostly the Jokic show, but Bones, it's in Miami. Not a great team to pick on necessarily defensively. Bam's a solid defender as well. Jimmy's back for defense, but I think he can get his fantasy points in multiple ways, different types of triple doubles. Never would I besmirch or try to talk anybody out of playing Jokic, but I probably am not for salary reasons, line of construction reasons. Anything else here that's worth talking about, or shall we move on?
I think you can move on.
All right. Let's 2 games. All right, we're on some good pace here. Crunch Time Crew is coming on in like 10 to 15, no, hopefully not 15 minutes, but 10 minutes. It's TheLuuch, and it's TJ. TJ will be here asking for your likes. Kind of hit that like button right now if you guys are hanging out in the old YouTube. Throw some questions out too. Whatever's on your mind or thoughts, somebody we neglected. Tell us we're wrong about something. I'm happy to revisit something. But fire away your questions. Maybe we'll get to them before we hand it over. Portland and Golden State is next up. 232 is the total. Pretty high and tight as well. Portland is a 1-point favorite here. We are getting some bodies back on Golden State. Wiggins is still out, but Thompson's back from his rest. Draymond's good to go with his foot. James Wiseman's questionable, not a big deal. As far as Portland, midday downgrade for Nurkic. Nurkic is ill, so he's questionable. And Justice Winslow is out for Portland. If Nurkic sits, Eubanks, it'll be a common. I guess it'll be Eubanks that would. They have Watford.
It looks like it'll be Eubanks, yeah.
How much do we like Eubanks? If we've had this situation before, like they don't give him a ton of minutes. He's like fine, right?
We have him for what do we have him for minutes? I'm just trying to pull it up.
You know what? We have a what if, and if Nurkic sits, we're giving projected minutes to Eubanks. That would equal 25 DK, 26 Fanduel points. So kind of usable, right? I think that will be usable.
I think he's usable with those. Yeah, he's usable.
Yeah. Again, this is one of those deals where you're playing the waiting game, though. But also, I happen to think midday downgrades. You never really know how ill somebody may or may not be. That's a broad term, Same thing with Gobert. Gobert's ill. Is there any way to gauge if he's going to play or not? I have no clue. But yeah, it's out there. And if Nurkic can't go,
midday downgrades they never play. It seems like they never play.
I think body part more so. But yeah, as a general, and especially if it's the later it is too.
Yeah.
So that the tricky part is having slots available at 10 o'clock. We've talked about a lot of plays we've liked so far. This is an hour after the Miami-Denver game. This is 2 hours after the Bucks. We like a lot of the Bucks. This is 3 hours after Orlando. We are rostering several Magic players. So will you even have a spot available, or should you plan ahead and have plan B and plan C? I don't know who you would play If you have,
I don't think you really need to plan ahead, but it's another situation, and he would be better than Highland, where if you're stuck, he's an easy pivot in this situation if Nurkic is ruled out.
Yeah, if you have Bones in the utility spot and that one doesn't work out, then maybe Nurkic sits. Is that the thought process?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Lillard kind of sort of going home, right? From Oakland, close enough, I guess. San Fran.
34% usage rate for Lillard, 30 for Simons. I think I'd prefer Lillard. I don't know. For me, it'd be Lillard. I guess you could play Simons as well in tournaments. I think Lillard's a very strong play. I don't usually play a ton of him, but he looks good in terms of his projection.
Eric and Chad, are we skipping game one for cash? No.
Yeah, do not do that. That's like your entire team.
You're playing on DK. You're probably playing at least 3 Magic players in cash, maybe 4, maybe 5, maybe 4, maybe 5. But yeah, no is the answer. You're absolutely playing Magic players in cash. If you're not, you're doing something wrong. It's just.
I think it's like 4 Magic, right?
It's at least 3, I think. I haven't run it.
3, yeah.
But it's got to be at least 3 guys on Magic. Golden State, thoughts as far as the Warriors?
With Curry out, like all these guys, all the regulars are going to get their bumps. Poole, Clay, Dre, they'll all be guys you can go to. DiVincenzo, he's playing without Wiggins. He's going to start for him. They're like filler plays for me, really. Like I keep trying to make Poole work. He never works, so I quit trying to make Poole work at this point. And yeah, I don't know. Not too many Warriors. Not interested. I guess Poole would be my favorite.
I don't have a lot else to say about this game.
It's not a great game. Outside of Lillard, I feel like Lillard's the guy that you'd want to pull from this game.
I think he's really interesting for tournaments. It's a game where Lillard can put 40 real points in the bucket, right? If Nurkic is out, his usage will go up even higher. I suppose there's an increase in chance of a blowout, but they're actually slight favorites right now, which is a little bit surprising. I like his price on Fanduel too. 9-1 on Fanduel seems really, really good. 9-7 on DK I can work with as well. Good play for sure.
What about Simons at 6-6?
Yeah, I mean that's a filler, I guess. If I have 6-6 left, and I don't want to blow my lineup up, but I'm not seeking it out. It's whatever. I'm not going to say you can't do it, but I'm likely not going to do that. All right, Utah and Sacramento. 242 is the total, high and tight. Sacramento favorite here. I believe Utah is fully healthy. They are fully healthy. Sacramento fully healthy as well. The only thing we see is Trey Lyles. Half he's questionable. Not really a big deal. We touched on, the thing with Utah is that everybody's kind of fully priced where they should be, and minutes are getting squeezed a little bit because, some guys have played pretty well in the absence of others, but now when they're all available, there's only so many minutes to go around. It's and they're fully priced. I don't love anybody on Utah. And the matchup against Sacramento is fine, but nobody really makes a lot of sense.
Markkanen and Clarkson in tournaments, outside of that, I don't think anyone. I'm not going to have very much exposure to the Utah side on the slate.
Yeah, we touched on earlier as far as Sacramento, as far as Sabonis, loving Sabonis tonight. I think he's more playable on Fanduel, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check on this. Yeah, because he's power forward / center eligible on Fanduel. He got some versatility. 10-4 over there, 10-3 on DK. I think there's a chance he drops that triple-double. I saw he was 4-1 in the sports books, and I was thinking of maybe
calling some American dollars on it.
I might know a guy who knows a guy, that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm in the wrong state to officially do it myself, but you know what I mean. It just feels like Sacramento. Utah. We talked about it. They're terrible on the inside. They give the most fantasy points, most actual points in the bucket on the inside and the paint. Sabonis, 62% of his points come from the paint. He, I guess, is fine. Took 18 shots his last game. Took 2 threes, and he made 2 threes. So I assume his hands are good to go. His thumb, it was wrapped up. The minutes, of course, rock solid, 38 minutes. And if you look at his minutes per game this season, it's not as high as you might want it to be, but a lot of it is when he gets hit with foul trouble. Avoid foul trouble, and he should be good to go and playing, 37, 38, 39, 40 minutes against this Utah team. Also, they bleed offensive rebounds. I believe they give the third most offensive rebounds in the league. Sabonis is averages about 3 offensive rebounds per contest, 15th in the league. Got a couple of putbacks on layaway as well. Really, really like Sabonis. Again, like as far as the Bigs fans, like Sabonis, like Giannis, like LeBron, like Pascal. And that's where, you can't just say you like everybody. At a certain point, you run out of money, you run out of spots. Other players in Sacramento that are interesting, like you're going to get Fox at 2% ownership. Sure, if you want to do that, by all means, have at it. Kobe White available to play, by the way. So if you're considering playing Goran Dragic, the Dragon, don't. Yeah, so just throw that out there. I know he was talked about earlier in the show. Your thoughts as far as Fox, the Kings, anything else here?
I think you're right on with Sabonis. 1.39 fantasy points per minute. He's going to see 37 minutes. Great rebounding matchup. I wouldn't mind getting to Sabonis everywhere here for that match. Like, it's such a good spot. Outside of that, Fox, he's going to be under 5% owned. I don't know. I don't know if this is the slate for it, and I think the ownership's kind of reflecting that. Harrison Barnes, maybe. What's his price tag? 5,200. Same thing. 32 minutes. I think Barnes I could get to a little bit if I was playing 150, but I don't know. For me, it'd just really be Sabonis.
Yeah, we got 14% ownership on Sabonis, and besides that, nobody else in Sacramento getting more than 3 per. Wait, no. We got some Malik Monk. I have a bias against Monk. It's nothing personal.
Very tough roster.
Yes, I can't do it. He's a scoring reliant dude that comes off the bench, and I don't know when he's going to make his shots and when he's not going to make his shots. But the floor is rough, but he will sometimes score like 28 actual points in the bucket. That happens on occasion. When is it going to happen? I have no clue. I don't know how to predict that. And that's I just don't like those kind of players on my roster. But those are the kind of players that sometimes, every once in a while, are the reason why you win.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how to like Beasley's another one, the same game. I don't know how to play Beasley.
I can't play Beasley. Clarkson would be better if Clarkson was a little bit cheaper. I would have some interest, but he's at 7K. His price has come up a little bit. Not really. Sorry, 6'8". He's up to 7. I think Clarkson's not the worst play on the other side, but I don't know. It's a tournament play.
We should have the Crunch Time crew of TJ coming in, as well as TheLuuch. TheLuuch will be coming in, and Chief Mineralogist Kevin Roth will be running the show as well. Let's see. I'm seeing if they're here. It doesn't appear they're here just yet. Probably.
It seems like we ran a little early.
Yeah. Every once in a while, we pace it. We go a little too slow, go a little too fast. I thought we Goldilocks it. I guess not. We got another minute to kill, it appears. I'm running an optimal on DK. I want to see what's changed as far as how many Magic is too much Magic. I don't know why I'm running 155, so it's going to take me a second. Going to kill some time. If there's any questions in chat? Any questions in chat that are worth noting? Yeah, Derek says it's Friday night. Let loose and roster some Monk. Yeah, I'm a nit. And it's probably a hit in my game. Like I probably should. I know you're making a joke, but you're right. I probably should play Monk more. And just maybe.
How many teams do you usually make? You make like one team, right?
I like 2 main teams, and then I'll just kind of screw around and make 5 or 6 others, just because. But yeah, a couple in the single entry stuff, and I build my lineups. They're handcrafted, like a sandwich.
You hand build every single one.
Say it again.
You hand build all of them.
Yeah, I usually hand build them, but a lot of times, it's easier to do on DK, where you can separate them off. Like you can have one big lineup and kind of split it off, and just kind of make something and then separate it out and change it and swap it out. And if you're not playing anybody at 7:00, that's even easier, right? You can just kind of make. I can make it at 7:15, at 7:20. But my one main lineup is made at 7, and then of course I'm paying attention to the news. 2 players are hitting our optimizer cap. I put a cap at 75%, no more than 75%, and it is 2 Magic players. It's Terrence Ross and it's Bull. That's on DK for what it's worth. First optimal lineup has 4 players for the Magic, no surprise, and Giannis, no surprise. You can kind of figure it out. 5 Magic players in the second one, 5 in the third one, 4. So it's 4 and 5. I'm I'm not sure if I'll cut it off at 3, but it's you're gonna want to play the first game. TJ is here, Roth is here. I guess TheLuuch is here in a second. TJ, I know you're upset about the likes. Do your thing. We'll get it pumped up in a second. How many Magic players is too many Magic players for you, TJ?
I mean, what site are we talking? I think probably it depends on how I'm running my lineup. Luch and I talked about this on the Fanduel Friday show. Like on Fanduel specifically, we probably want to cap it at 2 unless we're running it back with a Wizard player. In tournaments, that is. But on DraftKings, where some of them are a little bit cheaper, like Bull would be getting the lock button for me.
Yeah, Fanduel where Bulbo is, center and center only, and he's more expensive. He's not a lock, but on DK, he looks like a really, really good play. We have Roth as well. Roth, this is a slate that you're going to get some cheapies. I don't know if you're playing along tonight. It's Friday night. You're going to have yourself a good time. You make a lineup or no?
I mean, if it's my kind of slate, we might as well, right?
I mean, how do you feel about the Orlando Magic? You're going to hear a lot about the Magic.
Yeah, I guess I'll load it up. I like Bull. Big Bull guy over here. So
are you a Jordan or LeBron guy, Rob?
Oh boy,
it's LeBron, and it's not even close. He's the greatest player by a lot.
This is why I love Roth. Yeah,
it's just a fact.
It's almost an insulting question. It really is.
Yeah, it's not that close. It's pretty close, but it's not like there shouldn't be an argument.
We're lighting up the chat now. I did troll in the expert survey today, TJ. In regards to Jordan, if you guys are premium members, feel free to check that out. We got TheLuuch as well. Myself and Bobby are going to step aside. Bobby, at least you got anything else? We're happy to yield. Anything else?
Before you step aside, Dean, the rumor has it that if we get up to 100 likes, you will be posting a photo kind of reenacting what LeBron did, and you're doing the same flex with the shirt off photo.
You gotta
if we get up to
beard.
100 likes.
The one that I tweeted out today, is that what you're talking about?
That's the one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe I have the capability to reenact that, but sure.
You're gonna have to do it if we get 100 likes.
Yeah.
I don't believe I agreed to that. I did not sign anywhere, but Bob aside, we're good. Yes.
Yeah, we're good. Good luck tonight, guys.
Enjoy the evening. Oh, and Happy New Year, everybody. I guess we're not going to be here. Well, what's the first on Sunday?
I will be.
All right. Well, Happy New Year to you as well, TJ, and everybody else. Did you guys celebrate the New Year's in Canada? Is that a thing?
Of course, yeah. No, it's same as it is in the States. normal New Year's Eve, normal New Year's Day, but I will be here on Crunch Time Saturday night, breaking down the NBA slate on New Year's Eve as well.
All right. Myself and Bobby, appreciate y'all watching the first portion. Hit that like button. Hang out for the Fanduel sponsor, Crunch Time. You got TheLuuch, you got TJ, you got Roth. Roth, take it away.
Appreciate it, Dino. As always, excellent stuff. Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed Crunch Time, and it is sponsored by. Whenever we do the shot, like the formatting gets off, then I got to readjust the camera. All right. It is indeed sponsored by Fanduel, joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. Which one of you is doing cash? Have we decided this yet?
Luch has got it.
Luch has got. All right. Well, then we got Luch coming in hot with the cash takes. What's up, bud? How you feeling?
Hey, pretty good. How you doing?
I am good. I am excited. It's a Friday. Things are good. And I have some incredible New Year's Eve celebration tips for everyone
really?
Coming up. Yeah, like very soon. I might drop this knowledge in the next 60 seconds. Very important stuff.
Okay. 100 likes, and Roth will drop his New Year's Eve knowledge.
This is the coolest science/New Year's knowledge you've ever heard. So get to that 100 likes.
Like hangover remedies, are we talking here? Or
no.
Weather?
This is for people who live in dangerous cities, mostly.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. But it's fascinating information. So hit that like button. I've got some legitimately great content coming your way. We have TJ as well. TJ coming with the GPP Flames tonight. How you feeling, TJ?
Feeling good. Was on the morning grind with Stevie last night. Did some Fanduel Friday with Luch today. So we've been breaking this slate down for the last 24 hours, and we're ready to help the people win some money tonight.
From the midnight, the morning grind to the midnight oil, just grinding all day long. I approve of this, good sir. Hey guys, we have roughly 30 minutes here until it is go time to talk about this slate. So let's kind of kick it off with an overview. Let's pretend, Luuch, that I've had a couple beers and I haven't looked at the slate whatsoever, and I plan on diving into it. What do I need to know? And let's just pretend it's certainly not the truth.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Orlando Magic is your starting point. High ownerships. The Malice at the Palace sequel, which really wasn't as crazy as the Malice at the Palace. Great ESPN film, by the way, on Netflix or whatever it was. On the whole real Malice at the Palace. That was a good one.
Good. But can I interject? Because I do that
Yes.
when I've been drinking. The fact that I saw a clip that was like Malice at the Palace 2 or whatever, and I clicked it thinking like, oh my God, what happened? And it was just a couple dudes like maybe shoving. There was maybe a half punch thrown. I was like, you can't even compare these things. It was ridiculous.
It may have been ours. I saw that too, and I laughed. It was funny.
Whoops, never mind.
Yeah,
Great post. Got good engagement.
Yeah, it got me. I clicked on it. There was a cheap shot haymaker. I mean, we could spend a half an hour breaking down haymakers and cheap shots, but what it comes down to, the aftermath is the Orlando Magic have 8 bodies tonight. So, whenever there's condensed rotation, there's going to be higher usage rates, and a few players are getting a lot of minutes here. So you're going to want to start with the Orlando Magic for sure. I think it's probably better that I hit the main points rather than go position by position. There is some pretty big site differences between sites. I know we're leading with FanDuel. A lot of the prices are cheaper on the other site.
Rudy Gobert just got listed out.
Jeez Louise, we can't even get in
So.
60 seconds here, TJ.
And already Reggae Joe says Nas season. And
Naz Reid is now a core play on both sites.
Yeah.
Man, what are his price tags at, TJ? What do you got over there?
Naz Reid is $5,900 on FanDuel, and over on DraftKings, Naz Reid is $4,900. So he is the lock of all locks there, and he's power forward and center eligible on DraftKings.
So this is what you do on DraftKings. We're already pivoted. We're already pivoting the cash plan up slightly. You're playing Naz Reid at one of the positions he's eligible for on DraftKings. Sorry, I know it's a FanDuel lead, but you're playing Naz Reid on DraftKings, and you're playing Bol, who's very cheap on DraftKings as well. And then you're going from there. These Magic players, like, you can't go wrong. TJ and I broke it down a little bit earlier. Markelle Fultz, should have a pretty high floor. Franz Wagner, like, you can play 2 to 3 of these Magic guys in cash builds. Terrence Ross is typically a bucket. We have him projected for 32 minutes. Anytime Terrence Ross is projected for over 30 minutes and he's under 4K, you have to take him into consideration. He's projected to come in at 42% on FanDuel. So just on his ownership alone, I'm playing Terrence Ross in cash. Absolutely. So start with the Orlando Magic for sure when you're building your cash teams. Milwaukee, the other team that's missing a bunch of pieces, and I'm sure TJ will get there for some tournament plays. They're without Middleton. They're without Drew Holiday. That usually gives Giannis a super high floor ceiling combination. So if you can get Giannis, I think you should play Giannis in cash. There's a million studs you can get different with for tournaments, but also Javon Carter as well.
We might. I like the idea of just kind of tag teaming this for both cash and tournaments today, because Luuch and I have been breaking this slate down together, and so I'll slide in with a couple position by position things. At the guard, you're choosing between a small list of people. It's Markelle Fultz and Javon Carter are the priorities with only guard eligibility for you, and Terrence Ross and one Chicago player, DeRozan or Levine, both have small forward eligibility alongside Franz Wagner. That's kind of your entire pool of your choosing from, on top of Alec Burks. Alec Burks is a guy that I love in tournaments and in cash today. He's cheaper on DraftKings, but he absolutely is FanDuel cash viable as well.
That's a really good way to put it for cash. You're looking at Magic players, you're looking at Alec Burks, and you're looking at Javon Carter. And that's kind of like where I would prioritize your guards, at least on FanDuel. And Terrence Ross, who can also play small forward.
All right, let's move to small forward.
Okay, so Terrence Ross and Wagner also eligible there, and Giannis. Like, again, super small pool of players here. Zach LaVine's been pretty good, decent little floor at 7,500. DeRozan has been insane, but I'm not sure I want to go 9K there. I'd rather just get Giannis. Again, pretty small pool of players here. Paolo is it Paolo or Paulo? I never actually
Paolo.
say his name out loud. So
Paolo.
anyway, I know hopefully not. Hopefully Andy Means isn't watching. You know, I don't want to offend the Dukesters in the house, but you know, a little bit cheaper on DK. He's been playing kind of poorly lately, but he should have a super usage hike as well. But really, like you're prioritizing Giannis here at small forward. If you know, if you don't fit him at power forward in your builds.
Okay. You want to bring me to power forward?
Yeah, we'll go there. Bobby Portis. We touched on him briefly on the Fanduel Strategy Show. TJ looks like algorithms and a lot of optimizers really like him, and for good reason. You know, 5,700 in that Minnesota matchup is really cheap, so you can totally play Portis and Giannis together. I think that is fine. As you can see, Giannis is obviously also eligible here at power forward.
From a lineup building perspective, I think this is probably where we're going to be wanting to play Giannis in cash games. I locked him in there at the small forward, but if we're talking cash game perspective, it's a weaker position here than the small forward position is. We probably want to roll Giannis at that position so that we can go Terrence Ross at the small forward position. And these are actually the spots that we're likely going to be locking these two guys in from a cash game perspective.
Yeah. You know, I see, you know, and kind of rolling that over because Portis is eligible at center as well. I don't hate Okonkwo, but he's so volatile. I'd, you know, he's carrying more ownership than I anticipated. I'd rather play Portis at center or Bol.
It's Nas. You got to go Nas.
Or Bol or Nas or even Porzingis if you for some reason have some money with Bradley Beal being out, who's carrying a little bit of ownership as well. Like I would not play Okonkwo at center.
Naz Reid has by far the best RG value on this slate now.
Yeah, Naz Reid's the guy on FanDuel.
Okay, all right. To center, or was that center? I'm sorry.
That was center.
Forward, right?
That was pretty much center. I mean, it's not like it used to be where everyone had one position on FanDuel.
Right.
I know they had
There's a lot of this happening these days. Okay, TJ, anything you want to add? I know that you were kind of chiming in there, but anything that you'd like to break down is kind of maybe a general overall thought to tournaments? Because right now it sounds like your tournament build is a damn cash build.
Yeah, so I will have some kind of like this is more of a 150 max style chalky cash build that I'm looking to make. So like if I was playing 150, I'd want to press the lock button on Naz Reid, especially because this news came late. He's still going to be heavily owned, but not as highly owned as he should be. And so Nas would be the guy that I'd be looking to get the lock button on. And I'm still playing a lot of this Orlando value. However, while I absolutely like Giannis in tournaments today, he's still a great play. I'd be looking to make a couple pivots and trying to get to Domantas Sabonis in large chunks today. Only 13% ownership. That last game of the night, Utah and Sacramento, is such a strong game environment. And then if we sort by salary here, we can see like we have the value on this slate. Nobody's getting to Jokic. Nobody's getting to Embiid. And this is going to be even lower now that Naz Reid is there. So if you're not like me and wanting to go 100% Naz, maybe that's where you want to get different tournaments today. No one's going to Embiid or Jokic, and Embiid would definitely be my priority there. LeBron as a pivot off of or in addition to Giannis is a very nice spend up today. I like the idea of if I want to play LeBron, pairing him with one of the Atlanta guards. That's very interesting to me today. But if I'm not paying up for one of these centers, it's going to be Naz Reid. There's a few more players on DraftKings I'm going to be looking to lock in as well. But some other interesting spots, LeLuuch and I talked about this. In tournaments, like if I'm playing more than two Orlando players, if I'm running Paolo and Fultz, Wagner, Bol, whatever it is, if I'm doing more than two, I want to run it back with a Washington player, especially because we don't have Bradley Beal in this game. So Kristaps Porzingis, a fantastic tournament play. Kyle Kuzma, a fantastic tournament play. Monty Morris is fine. Not Gafford on FanDuel because you just got to play Naz Reid. But then Denny Avdia, I think, is an interesting value play in this one as well. So run it back with a Washington player if you're playing more than two Orlando players in a tournament. And then this Toronto team is very interesting as well because we once again have no Precious, no Fred VanVleet. We saw Scotty Barnes put up a huge ceiling last game. Nobody's getting there. And so him and Siakam are two players I'm interested in as well. On top of just like I brought the players up at the beginning, like Sabonis, but this entire Utah-Sacramento game, I love Fox for tournaments. I love Malik Monk in tournaments. On the Utah side, Lauri Markkanen, less than 1% ownership. Jordan Clarkson, Kelly Olynyk, Mike Conley, all low owned. Sign me up because this is going to be a high-scoring game. And Luch like Zion. And Roth, you muted.
Great. That was intentional. I want to talk DK here because I have a lineup with 4 centers, and it's so good. It's so good, and it's so ridiculous, and I feel like I'm going to win every freaking dollar. So tell me what you're supposed to do so I can see if this is just the chalk build that I have constructed here. Because it's like I have every good player that you could possibly have.
That's a great segue, because when are you going to get a slate, like a real slate, where you can get Jokic or Embiid both probably under 5 to 6%?
I'm sorry, did you say or? What about and?
So let me hear what you got here, Mr. Roth.
Okay, all right.
Give me the building blocks here.
Real quick, I see no reason why you shouldn't be able to play Jokic and Giannis if you want, or you can flip that out to Embiid. We'll go Embiid to save money. Fultz, Ross, Reed, Burks, Bol. You got the money to make this happen.
Yeah, TJ.
I might be playing a guy named C. Houston on Orlando right now, but I was hoping you could give me a better option. But I don't know if that's one of the dudes on Orlando that's playing or not.
I mean, he's going to play.
I'm going to win all the money. Like, is this lineup just absolutely going to smash?
Well, here are the building blocks, Roth. You start yourself with this, what we got right here, and the TJ's cash game core plays that if you take out Giannis Antetokounmpo and you take out Terrence Ross, Bol, Alec Burks, and Naz Reid, I'd be hitting the lock button on all 3 of those guys in tournaments today. And Burks, Ross, Bol, Reid, Giannis, I think is how you need to start all cash game builds today.
But you could flip Giannis for a different star in tournaments all you'd like, right? And you can easily get 2 studs.
You could, 100%.
Right.
However, I would say over Jokic and Embiid today, so you don't have to play Caleb Houston. I think I'd rather go with maybe some Pascal Siakam, Domantas Sabonis type guys in there.
I was going to win $1 million all alone, and now I'm going to split it with all of our friends thanks to the show. But agreed. That sounds like a fun GPP build. But let's talk about what
you got Corey Joseph at 3K projected for 24 minutes today.
All right, Luch, what's the cash build here?
I mean, TJ gave a beautiful segue here. I mean, Alec Burks is super cheap. I love that price on DK for cash. I think he's about 900 cheaper. He's a high usage guy. He likes to chuck when he gets the ball in his hand. So I think Burks is definitely more of a priority on DK for cash than he is FanDuel. There's just so many cheap options. I mean, Terrence Ross at basically the stone cold minimum is kind of a travesty as well. Another guy who's just a walking bucket when he's in the game. And again, we haven't projected for 32 minutes. So those are 2 guys I think that are really good priorities for DK here. I just I know everyone wants to play everyone wants to run 2 centers, one at utility and one at center. And I'm stepping on TJ's toes here, but again, that's why you're going to get just insane ownership and really nice leverage on Embiid and Jokic tonight. And Embiid has done absolutely nothing wrong to be sub 5% here. I mean, he's playing incredible basketball. He's done it in tough matchups. He's pretty much matchup proof here. So, I mean, you pretty much nailed it, Roth. You can make one minor pivot and get a world of leverage. There's going to be a lot of duplication. So I think you can also leave a little bit of money on the table, a little more than you usually would for tournaments.
Okay. Very good. Let's talk some GPPs, TJ. On DK, we've got oodles and noodles of time. If you wanted to help me out in another build, I've got 4,700 left at small forward on DK, and I have no idea. I have no idea where I'm supposed to go.
$4,700 on a small forward on DK. I would probably look at somebody like an AJ Griffin playing the Lakers today because DeAndre Hunter is out, and I believe Trae Young is actually. This is something I didn't touch on, but this could be just one of those things where it's Oh yes, Trae Young is now available to play. Good, I missed that. But DeAndre Hunter is out, and so I think AJ Griffin would kind of be my favorite for that last piece there. But that'd be my biggest stand today. Is I'd be playing Burks, Bol, Naz Reid in 100% of my lineups, mixing and matching the Terrence Rosses, the like one of Fultz or Wagner, mixing and matching the Terrence Rosses, the Javon Carters, and even some guys like, I don't know how much Caleb Houston I'd get to. For what it's worth, Stevie called this as his GPP. Like, if this changes your lineup, Roth, Stevie who is a Orlando Magic fan, called Caleb Houston his let's get weird GPP play of the day on the morning grind last night. So
then I'm sticking with it. Let's
3K.
get weird.
For what it's worth, I think I like Admiral Schofield better if it's at the if you can get it at the power forward position or just the forward position. I do like Schofield better. However, if you can't get it, or sorry, that was not Caleb Houston. That was Kevon Harris that he called, but who's actually projected for less minutes and more and less minutes and less points. So that does make it tough, but it's like they got 8 guys. If this game is close, it's going to be the 5 who are starters playing almost all of the minutes, but it's not. It could be any of these 3 Orlando guys. And my favorite of the randos, if I was going to get overweight on one, it'd be Schofield. But if I was running 150, I could tell you I'd have more. I'd probably have 5 to 10% of Harris and Houston as opposed to 1 to 2% of these guys. On the Toronto side, Scotty Barnes, $6,700, way cheaper than he is on FanDuel. Projected for 13% ownership right now. That's one of my favorite tournament plays on the slate. Gary Trent Jr. at 5K, I like there as well. But Scotty Barnes is just way too cheap. And because that Van Vliet news dropped late and everybody's doing a heavy stars and scrubs build today, he's one of my favorite tournament plays. I love the idea of playing Scotty Barnes instead of Franz Wagner in a lineup, only $500 more, half the ownership. And I think he's just a phenomenal play. Both DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, I think, are strong tournament plays. Now that we got Gobert out, I'm more like, one of my favorite tournament plays of the day was Brook Lopez. I still like him today, but I'm more interested in playing him on DraftKings, not FanDuel, because I want to play Naz Reid everywhere on FanDuel. But where I can play 2 centers, I like getting to meet some Brook Lopez here because I just really think there's a good chance he could be hitting a lot of threes. And he'll have a big centered anchored in the key, which I guess is less of the case now because Naz Reid is a 3-point shooter. So less Brook Lopez than I did before. But if you're getting a Giannis, you're getting a Carter, maybe mix in on top of your Naz Reid a little bit of Kyle Anderson, D'Angelo Russell, or Anthony Edwards as a run back. I like that quite a bit. And then, like I mentioned previous, Utah and Sacramento love this game environment. Basically anybody on Utah. My favorite would be Kelly Olynyk over on DraftKings, where he's 5,300 power forward and center eligibility, and then Sabonis and Fox with a little bit of Malik Monk on DraftKings. One player I forgot to mention on FanDuel, Jordan Poole. He is viable in tournaments on DraftKings, but he's much cheaper on FanDuel. He's cash viable. He's tournament viable. If you land on a $7,500 Jordan Poole, that's fine. But Kelly Olynyk over here on DraftKings at 7,100 is a strong tournament play as well.
Okay.
Hey,
very good.
Small forward. Hold on. Let me get weird quick. Small forward. There's one player coming in at less than 1% projected ownership, coming off a 50 bomb, and it's Sadiq Bey, and they have suspension issues too. And yes, he may go for like 15 points, but he's coming in at no ownership at 4,300 on DK. He's like 55 on FanDuel. So it's pretty rare where a guy just drops 50 and he's not mentioned on much content at all throughout the industry. But it was his 4th highest usage rate of the season against Orlando. Super scary, large field tournament play only, but maybe he's still feeling it. They're down a couple bodies too, Sadiq Bey, that is, and just wanted to throw him out there for small forward at no ownership.
I love it. At that price, if you literally have the capability to get 40 or more, like, you got to be a tournament thought.
Like maybe it's chasing, but he's so cheap that I don't even think it could be considered chasing, right? It's 4,300.
Especially if he's cheap and the ownership is low. Like, that's not even chasing at that point. That's just...
And I don't necessarily think he's a target, but when you have a GPP lineup where you're looking to find somewhere different and that's a last piece, I think that fits kind of perfectly.
Or a low-owned run back with like DeRozan if you're not using Corey Joseph or Bogdanovich. He's an option. Okay, I'm done.
All right. I feel like 350 points at 375 may be required to win some GPPs tonight. I don't know. Feels like it's going to be a high-scoring one here. Was that even low? Should I have said 400?
But probably going to be a 400 day, but like, especially when you look at it from this perspective, like you look at how many people I'm viewing right now as like a core play for cash games. The one player I could maybe sub out of this would be Markelle Fultz, but he still just projects so well that I don't think I'd want to do that. We talked about all these different players that we like. We sort by RG value here. We find a little cheapie. Green. There's like, a lot of green, but we can find a cheap value play like a Javon Carter, who we talked about. And then you get your choice of Siakam, a Sabonis, Embiid, any one of these guys. And we talked about Joel Embiid for tournaments and how much we like him. Well, he's coming in at less than 5% ownership. Joel Embiid at less than 5% ownership. You think Jonas Valanciunas is going to be able to contain Joel Embiid? Heck no. And so you got your lineup right here, and you got put in a Jonas Valanciunas, and then you just got to pick any 4K or less guard to – Joel Embiid, and you got any 4K guard left there to plug in. So you can do your cash core and still find multiple ways to get difference here in tournaments. Another player Squirrel has tagged as LeBron, play in Atlanta, huge total. It's his birthday. There you go. We just flexed with a shirtless picture that Dean's going to replicate if we get 100 likes. So 10 more likes. Make sure you hit the like button. Because I think he's interesting. And then look what you got right there. A guy that Squirrel has tagged with Javon Carter.
Very nice. True North in the chat says, holy F, I'm loving this Naz Reid power forward eligibility. So many of the best plays on DK, or at least guys I want to play, have that power forward center. And it's so fun. You can play 4 of them and, call it a day. And maybe that's what everyone's doing, but there's like 9 of them. So
it makes me aggressively wish. Let me word this differently so I don't get in trouble. Okay. It makes me slightly sad at the missed opportunity that I have a date night tonight with my wife who just got home after a 4-day trip. And so I'm not playing any lineups because I'd love to roll on DraftKings and just fire a ton of them out there, lock 5 players in for tournaments and just mix and match 20 to 30 other players in a pool.
That's what I'm doing with this. I just keep entering. I just keep re-entering and just like throwing different combinations in those last few spots. And it's pretty fun.
Feel free to message me if you have a sweat.
Yeah, I'll sweat it with you. I will. Yeah. And by the way, carefully worded and well done.
Thank you.
It's a little transparent, but we'll allow it. Hopefully she wasn't listening. Okay, guys, let's get to some QQs. By the way, if you haven't hit the thumbs up yet, you should, because at 100 likes, 2 cool things happen. 1, I give you the most interesting New Year's Eve celebration knowledge tidbit you've ever heard. Nance is out, by the way. And 2, Dean flexes like LeBron James shirtless. That's what TJ told me, at least. So make sure you hit that like button. Plus, it's free content. Let's get to some QQs. Pulling up the RG Discord here and scrolling up just a wee bit. We will start with Fit Crooks. DK Cash. Luuch, this is for you. Zinger Burks or Bonkero Okongwu?
Man, that's tough. I mean, you're definitely having more ownership in the second pair. Okongwu just scares me. I don't know. I'm with Beal out. I kind of like the first one.
I like the first one too, man. Zinger's another one of those like power forward center guys that I feel like I need to make another lineup to make sure I get him in.
Great matchup, and we can't just I know you need a short-term memory in DFS, but we can't forget that he was just dominating without Beal for like weeks. So Beal's out tonight. So I like Porzingis.
What is his price on DK?
8,700.
He's got 50-point upside, right? Easily. Yeah, great spot. Another guy, just real quick for tournaments, just real quick, and I'll let you go, is I do like Zion tonight. I think I'm on Zion Island, but I do like Zion tonight. Zion Island is probably a good spot to be, man. He can get shit done. All right, Matt Hack says, hey, doesn't Lillard usually go off when playing at Golden State? Do we care about such things?
Another fine tournament play that I'd be mixing and matching with that would be in my pool of guys.
Like, oh, these guys say they like everybody. You know, we'll correlate them. Make sure you have some run backs. Great pace,
Exactly.
great price. Yeah.
That's it exactly. It's like if I'm playing Lillard, I'll probably also play Jordan Poole or Klay Thompson. If I'm playing DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine, I mean, I already got Alec Burks locked in, but that's maybe where I'd look at a Sadiq Bey last piece or a Jalen Duren at a spot. Jaden Ivey, who's a great play today to the 5,900 that we didn't even talk about, even Bogdanovich. So it's like, to me, it's all about correlating. If I'm playing Giannis, I want to get Nas and maybe another Minnesota guy. Which is the one scary thing about Nas. Like, I still would be playing him in almost every lineup on DraftKings. It's just he's facing Giannis. What if you get in foul trouble about Giannis?
Sure.
But that's quite literally the only thing that could go wrong with him today.
That is a fairly scary thing, though, because Giannis, he can draw a foul or two. This is a good question. 2 for 1 here. Pluck says, is LeBron a lock on his birthday? And Sit Down Son says, how much of a difference does a birthday narrative make? And I think for a guy like LeBron, I think he cares. I think it matters to LeBron, and I think he's going in. And he's 0% owned, right?
Less than 10. So I mean, Atlanta's playing at a decent pace this year. I don't hate LeBron, and Alan's in the chat. Alan's our narrative guy, right? So maybe ask Alan.
Yeah, Alan. Alan has stats on. Yeah, he's got statistics on all these.
Another power forward / center, if I'm playing LeBron, that I would love to run it back with on DraftKings is John Collins. He's about $1,200 cheaper than he is on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel. And so if I'm playing LeBron James, I'd love to get me some 57, or I guess no, he's got priced up a bit. He's only $600 cheaper, but still $5,700 John Collins I like. And if I was running lots of lineups, I'd even mix in some skinny stacks with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young as well. More Trae Young than DeJounte.
Does that mean both of them are skinny people, or
no? Just like a 1-1 stack.
Oh, okay. Thanks for clarifying.
Instead of like a 3-3, 3-2 kind of thing.
Big stacks, skinny
stacks. Because number ones are skinny.
I see. Hey, by the way, in case you haven't done so already, sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal sports betting state. Take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. New customers get that no sweat first bet up to $1K. That's our sponsor. That's the reason you should hit that thumbs up, because they are the reason this show is free. So make sure you're signing up and thumbsing up. Back to the QQs. Arlo, DK Cash. Did we not just do this question? Boncaro, Okongwu, or Zinger Burks? I swear to God, we just did that. But
yeah, Zinger Burks.
Yeah. Prodigy, FanDuel single entry, TJ Ross or Schofield?
I would go Ross still, but if the rest of my lineup's super chalky, then maybe I'd make the Schofield pivot.
Fair enough. DK Cash, Sugar Ray says Bay or Allen?
I'm feeling Sadiq Bey. Was it Tourney or Cash?
I called it Cash. He didn't specify, but I'll call it Cash.
Cash, it's Allen. Tournament, it's Bay.
Yeah, well said.
All right, very good. And honestly, that's probably more of a tournament question now that I think about it. So, all right. DK Cash, which Orlando guys can you not have in cash? That's kind of a mind F of a question. But are there any of those Orlando guys that you're scared of in cash?
That's a good question. Yeah, I'm not playing. Yeah, I like Houston for tournaments. Not playing him. I'm not playing Schofield in cash. Harris is projected 17 minutes. No thanks. I'm out on him. But I think their entire starting five is viable.
Okay. Is this going to be one of those times?
And of the starting five, Bancaro would be the one I'd be least likely to play in cash.
Wow. Okay. Is this going to be one of those times where we all think, well, someone's got to score, and then it turns out no one does, and they put up like 72 points as a team, and no one gets there?
They still have most of their starting five intact, though. That's the thing. Like Wagner, Fultz, Bancaro, and then Bull and Terrence Ross are not typical starters, but Bull started a ton for them this year.
Yeah, they're
Terrence Ross is a vet. Yeah.
So all right. So just more minutes for good players. That does sound like a good thing. All right. DKGPP, DeMar or Edwards?
DeMar. If I have Giannis, it's Edwards. If I don't, it's DeMar.
Very good. FanDuel Cash is a 3v3. Luuch, Poole, Wagner, Collins, or Allen, Levine, DeRozan?
I'm not playing Levine and DeRozan together in anything, so it's the first one.
Very good. DK Cash, is Zinger okay as a last piece?
Yes.
FanDuel single entry, Javon Carter or Pat Connaughton?
Javon.
DK Cash, Ross, Zinger, or Carter Boncaro? Have we done this question 92 times?
This is somebody I forgot to talk about, but Luch and I talked about on the Fanduel Friday show, Joe Ingles. George Hill is also out in this game, so Javon Carter is basically the only point guard, and the backup spot's going to go to Grayson Allen, Connaughton, or Joe Ingles. $3,700 on Fanduel, cheap on DraftKings as well. If you're running a lot of lineups, I think he makes for a very interesting pivot salary saver.
Okay. By the way, Luch's doing a great job here in the Discord chat, kind of getting to some of those questions. I've been wanting to play Rui for my entire life, and tonight is the night where, like, you can in a GPP if you want. I can play Rui.
I don't think so.
No. All right. Luch.
I think you can play. I think you can play Rui. I mean, I'm not crazy about it, but yeah, and he's super cheap, 4,100.
Oh, 41 on DraftKings. Yeah, he's 55 on
DK.
FanDuel.
Yeah, DK. Yep.
Do we have enough likes for me to drop the single greatest knowledge bomb of your life?
4 likes away.
I'm just gonna do it. We've hit the lock. I'm gonna assume. I believe Rui is the only Japanese-born player like in NBA history. I think that's true. Which I don't know. I think that's pretty dope. I'm a big fan of him for that. But that's not the knowledge bomb. This is the New Year's knowledge bomb. Are you ready? Luch, where do you live?
Pennsylvania.
Not a lot of like crime there. No.
I mean, depends on where you are. Have you been to Philly, Roth?
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. Where I live, it's very important. They make a big deal to say when New Year's hits, don't go out and start firing your guns up in the air, because that's everyone like pulls out their 9s and you start shooting them up in the air because the bullets come down and they can kill people. Did you know this? This is a thing.
Gravity?
Well, sure. Yes. But did you know that people do that on New Year's? They go out pow, 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 shooting.
Yeah, I grew up in a pretty redneck-ish area, so.
Okay.
I'm not saying
Americans are so weird.
Say what?
Americans are so weird.
Yeah, we just start shooting in big cities. Like there's people all around, and we just go outside
and you guys
shooting guns.
Not even the healthcare to match.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, they're coming down. But here's the interesting fact that you can't say, like, you can't actually say this, but this is the actual science behind it. If you fire the gun straight up in the air, the bullet will tumble down harmlessly because it goes up, it stops, and then it just falls from gravity. And the weight of the bullet is not enough with the force of gravity to reach a strong enough terminal velocity to kill or harm anyone. However, if they fire the bullet like this, then it still maintains its forward momentum and kills people. So the moral of the story is if you go outside and start firing guns up in the air, make sure you actually fire them up in the air and not at an angle.
Actually, so I used to work for a pretty rural small newspaper, and there was like a stray bullet gun story where it like someone shot a gun and it went on the right angle and like went through someone's bathroom window and went through like a wall and like nicked somebody. So like there is some yes, to validate your point, that's some actually
kills people. Like it happens kind of a lot, but it's because people don't shoot it straight up. They shoot them.
I shouldn't be laughing, but it's pretty.
I know, but it's wild
but
that all you have to do to make it somewhat safer, and don't actually do it. It's dangerous either way. But if you shoot it up, it's better. If you shoot it this way, TJ's
Stephen S in chat. Stephen S in chat. Someone take Roth's beard.
These are all good choices. Yeah. This look, it's
shot
just
TJ can't believe this is actually our society.
That was my favorite. That's what made me laugh.
This is better than people making fun of my shirts like last week.
Hey, look, that's just the science behind it. If you shoot it up, it won't kill you. If you shoot it at an angle, it will. That's all. Hey, I think that was a wonderful show. So happy New Year's. Happy New Year's, everyone. My cute little daughter is knocking, so I am going to get on out of here. For Luch, for TJ, hi, honey. For Luch, for TJ, for our wonderful production team, always working hard behind the scenes. We appreciate you. We love you. We will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched. Happy New Year.